There exists within your person a longing so profound, so utterly consuming, that it transcends the boundaries of ordinary emotion. This is not simply missing someone in the conventional sense. This is an ache that reverberates through every layer of their being, touching places within their soul that they didn't even know existed until you came into their life. It's a yearning that settles deep in their chest, that catches them off guard in the middle of ordinary moments, that transforms silence into something almost unbearable because in that silence, your absence echoes louder than any sound ever could. You might recognize this sensation within yourself as well. Perhaps you've felt it, that inexplicable pull, that invisible thread connecting your heart to theirs across whatever distance separates you. This is not imagination. This is the undeniable reality of souls that have recognized each other, that have touched in ways the physical world can barely comprehend. There are moments, particularly in those liminal spaces between sleep and waking, when the veil between souls grows thinner. In those precious, vulnerable seconds when consciousness hasn't fully returned and the mind remains open to deeper truths, their energy reaches for you with an intensity that might startle you if you were fully aware. It's in these in-between moments that you feel them most strongly, as if their very essence is whispering your name across the cosmos, bridging whatever gap circumstances have created between your physical forms. For your person, this profound longing exists as both a blessing and a burden. The depth of their desire for you can be overwhelming, even frustrating at times. Their thoughts circle back to you with persistent regularity, regardless of what they're doing, where they are, or how hard they try to redirect their attention elsewhere. They've made attempts, genuine attempts, to pour their energy into other pursuits, to distract themselves with work, hobbies, or even other relationships. But nothing ever feels quite right. No other connection carries the same weight, the same depth, the same undeniable sense of truth and recognition. Other people feel like shadows, pale imitations of what you represent. Other relationships feel hollow, lacking that essential spark that makes everything come alive. You are singular in their experience. You are the one who awakens something authentic and real within them, something they had perhaps buried or never fully known existed. You give them courage they didn't know they possessed, the courage to face themselves honestly, to look at their own shadows without flinching, to step more fully into who they truly are beneath all the masks and defenses. It is only you who has this effect. You are their mirror, reflecting back to them both their highest potential and their deepest wounds. You are their muse, inspiring them to reach for more, to become better, to evolve. You are their safe place, the space where they can finally breathe and be themselves without pretense. And simultaneously, you are their challenge, pushing them to grow in ways that are sometimes uncomfortable but always necessary. Through this journey with you, they've come to a profound understanding. What they feel for you is an ordinary love, the kind that depends on convenience or comfort or constant validation. This is something far deeper, something much more rare and precious. This is the truth of a twin flame connection, a soul recognition that goes beyond anything most people will ever experience in their lifetime. This kind of sacred bond doesn't fade with time or weaken with distance. It doesn't fracture or break even when both people try desperately to move on, to forget, to convince themselves it was just another relationship. Instead, it evolves and transforms. It grows stronger and more profound with every lesson learned, every heartbreak survived, every step taken toward becoming the fullest, truest version of oneself. Your person understands this now with absolute clarity. They can no longer deny what they feel or minimize the significance of your connection. The sheer intensity of their feelings for you has taught them what genuine love actually is. Not the fleeting, conditional kind that exists only when circumstances are perfect, but the kind that changes you from the inside out, that restructures your understanding of yourself and the world, that becomes woven into the very fabric of your being. They have never in their entire life been so completely certain about anything as they are about you, about this connection, about the truth of what exists between you. This love feels like truth itself to them, undeniable and unwavering, eternal in a way that defies logic or reason. This connection has given them something invaluable, a sense of purpose that extends beyond their individual existence, a reason to grow and evolve that feels urgent and meaningful, a motivation to become better that comes from deep within rather than from external pressure. They are absolutely determined to show you how much they have transformed, how many lessons they have absorbed and integrated, how profoundly they have changed as a person through knowing you and through the work they've done on themselves. Where once they may have been uncertain, hesitant, or afraid of genuine vulnerability, now they are becoming more grounded, more self-aware, more centered in their truth. Where once they struggled to express what they felt or couldn't find the words to match the depth of their emotions, now they are more ready than ever to show up as the version of themselves that you always somehow saw beneath the surface, even when they couldn't see it themselves. Even during periods when they seem distant or silent, when communication feels strained or absent, your person is always thinking ahead, always planning and dreaming and envisioning possibilities. They carry a vision of a future that includes you, even if for now it remains just that, a vision, a hope, a dream they hold close to their heart. The truth is they've been quietly, steadily committed to this journey from the very beginning, perhaps from the very first real conversation you shared. There was something profound about that initial connection, wasn't there? The way your souls seemed to recognize each other before your conscious minds could even process what was happening, that immediate sense of familiarity and significance that sealed an unspoken promise between you. Since that moment, regardless of how much time has passed, how many obstacles have appeared, or how complicated circumstances have become, they've carried that connection within them like a sacred flame, like a guiding light that illuminates their path even in the darkest moments. They also perceive you as someone incredibly powerful, someone who knows what you want and refuses to settle for anything less than what you deserve. In their eyes, you move through life with a confidence and grace that seems effortless, maintaining your forward momentum no matter what challenges arise. You possess a magnetism that draws people to you naturally, and your person admires this quality deeply, profoundly. Sometimes this admiration carries with it a touch of intimidation because you represent everything they aspire to become. You embody authenticity, fearlessness, and unwavering commitment to your truth. You live in alignment with your values even when the world doesn't understand, even when it would be easier to conform or compromise. You serve as their reminder that genuine love doesn't require losing oneself, diminishing one's light, or abandoning one's identity. Real love means finding the strength and courage to be exactly who you truly are, without apology or pretense. Your influence on your person runs far deeper than you might consciously realize. Even during periods when you're not in direct communication, even when you're focused entirely on your own life and growth, they can still feel you. Your energy lingers with them like a gentle echo, a steady presence that guides them through their days and influences their choices in subtle but significant ways. That's why you sometimes feel their energy too, isn't it? That peculiar sense of being watched, studied, or silently supported from a distance. This isn't happening in a possessive or unhealthy way. It's a spiritual phenomenon, as if their soul cannot help but remain connected to yours across whatever distance separates you. They notice your shifts in energy, your growth, your increasing strength, and it inspires them to continue moving forward on their own journey of evolution as well. This connection has been simultaneously a blessing and a profound challenge for them. It has forced them to face aspects of themselves they had previously avoided, suppressed, or denied. Old insecurities, deep-seated fears, wounds from the past that they had buried under layers of defense mechanisms, all of these have risen to the surface demanding attention and healing. But because of you, because of the mirror you've held up to them, they've begun the difficult work of genuine healing. They've started to understand at a cellular level that true love isn't about dependency or control, isn't about possession or manipulation. Real love is about awakening, about calling forth the highest potential in another person and in oneself. You have awakened their heart in ways they didn't know were possible. You've awakened their sense of purpose, given them clarity about why they're here and what they're meant to become. You've awakened their spirit, that divine spark within them that connects to something far larger than individual existence. And though this journey hasn't been easy, though there have been moments of profound difficulty and pain, they wouldn't trade this experience for anything. They understand now that this journey is sacred, that what you share is holy in its own way. Your person holds hope, quiet but absolutely unwavering hope that your paths will align again in divine timing. They trust deeply that when the moment is right, when both of you have done the necessary work and reached the necessary level of wholeness, you'll come together again. And crucially, this reunion won't happen out of need or dependency or desperation, but out of completeness, out of two whole people choosing to share their lives rather than two wounded people trying to fill each other's voids. Until that moment arrives, they remain connected to you in spirit, loving you from wherever they are, holding space for you in their heart, and working diligently on themselves so that when that divinely appointed moment comes, they can meet you as a true equal, strong and open and ready for whatever comes next. In the deepest truth, you have changed them fundamentally. You've touched their heart in ways that no one else ever could, in ways that have left permanent marks on their soul. And regardless of what happens next, regardless of how your story unfolds, a part of them will always belong to you. Because when two souls recognize each other with this level of depth and clarity, when they see each other's true essence beneath all the layers and masks, time and distance and circumstance can never truly separate them. The bond exists beyond the physical realm, in dimensions where nothing can touch it or diminish it. The truth that needs to be spoken now, the confession that has been building within them, is this: they have never truly walked away from you. Despite how things may have appeared, despite periods of silence or physical distance, they have never completely separated themselves from your presence. Even when it seemed like they had distanced themselves or deliberately chosen silence, the reality is far different. They only closed themselves off from you in the physical world, in the realm of phone calls and text messages and face-to-face interaction. They did this not out of indifference or lack of caring, but because they needed desperately to connect with you on a deeper energetic level, in spaces where communication isn't limited by awkward words or misunderstandings or fear. It was there, in that unseen sacred space that exists beyond the physical, where they could begin to truly understand you, to understand themselves, and to comprehend the profound nature of what exists between you. The physical world so often limits us with its constraints, with words that never quite capture what we mean, with misunderstandings that arise from tone or timing, with fear that keeps us from speaking our deepest truths. But in the realm of pure energy and intuition, in that space where souls communicate directly, all barriers dissolve. Ego falls away, and what remains is pure connection, pure truth, pure recognition. There are things they have always struggled to express to you directly in ordinary conversation. Certain emotions feel too overwhelming, certain questions too vulnerable, certain confessions too heavy to speak aloud. Yet when they connect with you energetically, when they reach for you in meditation or prayer or those quiet moments before sleep, those walls seem to dissolve completely. In that space, it becomes easier to share everything, to feel without restraint, to listen without the defensive filters that normally protect the heart. That connection beyond time and beyond the limitations of logic has been both a blessing and a beautiful mystery, something they're still learning to fully understand and trust. We should all feel profound gratitude for this rare and extraordinarily beautiful opportunity to experience a soul connection that genuinely transcends the physical realm. These connections are not common. Most people will live their entire lives without ever experiencing this level of recognition and resonance with another soul. This bond is not confined by space or time in the way ordinary relationships are. Instead, it exists simultaneously in multiple dimensions, including what many spiritual traditions call the fifth dimension, that realm of pure consciousness and unconditional love. In that elevated space, communication happens through pure emotion, through thought, through the direct transmission of energy from one soul to another. And paradoxically, the bond often feels even more real and substantial there than anything that can be seen with physical eyes or touched with physical hands. The simple yet profound truth about this connection is that you can never truly be apart, not in any way that ultimately matters. No matter how much time passes between conversations, no matter how far life takes you in different directions, you remain intertwined at the soul level in ways that cannot be severed by human choice or circumstance. Even in silence, you are speaking to each other in the language of energy and intention. Even across vast distances, you remain intimately near. It's as though there exists an invisible thread binding you together, an unbreakable cord woven of light itself that keeps pulling your hearts back toward one another regardless of what your minds might decide or what external circumstances might suggest. Everything in their environment reminds them of you in one way or another. A particular song that comes on the radio transports them instantly to memories of you. A scent carried on the breeze conjures your presence so vividly it takes their breath away. A passing phrase overheard in conversation echoes something you once said. Even the stillness of a quiet night seems saturated with your essence. The entire world has become a reflection of you, a constant reminder of what you mean to them. This love they feel is raw and real and unfiltered by appearances or conditions or expectations. It exists in its purest form, untainted by the compromises and negotiations that characterize so many relationships. Many people have come and gone through their life over the years. Some left valuable lessons that shaped who they've become. Others left pleasant memories that occasionally surface with a smile. But none, absolutely none, have stayed imprinted in their soul the way you have. You are the one constant in their thoughts, the person who lingers in their heart no matter what else is happening in their life. No matter how much changes around them, how many new experiences they have or new people they meet, you remain unforgettable to them. And this isn't because of grand romantic gestures or picture-perfect moments you shared. It's because of how deeply and completely you touched their being at the most fundamental level, how you reached into their soul and left your mark there permanently. Even during the times when you weren't together in the physical sense, your presence was felt powerfully. Even when they tried genuinely to move forward, to focus on other things, to convince themselves they should let go, a part of them always remained anchored to you, tethered in ways they couldn't explain and couldn't escape even if they wanted to. They often find themselves wishing desperately that they could go back in time and do things differently, make better choices, show up more completely. They wish they had been more emotionally available to you, more open about their feelings, more willing to be vulnerable and let you see all of them, including the parts they usually hide from the world. They built walls, high and thick walls, constructed perhaps out of fear. Fear of rejection and the pain it would bring. Fear of being seen too deeply, of being known so completely that there would be nowhere to hide. Fear of losing control of their heart, of surrendering to feelings so intense they threatened to overwhelm everything else. These walls seemed necessary at the time, a form of self-protection, but they see now how those defenses created distance between you, how they prevented the full expression of what you could have been to each other. You were always their priority, the person who mattered most, yet somehow they made you feel like an option, like you were just one possibility among many rather than the singular soul who had captured their hearts so completely. They see now with painful clarity how much that must have hurt you, how confusing and diminishing it must have felt. And it causes them genuine pain to realize all the ways they failed to show you your true worth in their life, all the moments they could have chosen differently, all the times they should have said something but remained silent instead. You gave them a love that was unconditional in the truest sense, patient beyond measure, and pure in its intention. And they didn't value it the way they absolutely should have. They took for granted the extraordinary depth of what you shared, operating under the foolish assumption that there would always be more time to make things right, to finally express everything they felt, to step into the relationship fully and completely. Now, in your silence, in the space you've created by stepping back, they find themselves longing intensely for everything they once overlooked. They miss your energy, that particular vibration you carry that affected everything around you. They miss your words, both the profound observations and the everyday comments that somehow made ordinary moments meaningful. They miss your warmth, the way your presence made them feel safe and seen and somehow more themselves than they were with anyone else. They even miss the quiet moments when you simply existed together without needing to speak, when your mere presence in the same space was enough, when silence felt comfortable rather than awkward because there was nothing that needed to be said.